Hey, what's going on, guys? This is going to be my out-of-box review for number 17 in the RG line, the Wing Gundam Zero EW. Now, at the time of filming this, the Wing Gundam EW, the latest RG at the moment, has just been released, and I should be getting mine later this week, but I wanted to review this kit first, because obviously they're going to be having a lot in common, so I want to be able to compare them for you guys, what's new with the new kit, and what's been kept the same, and all of that. So I'm assuming the new kit's mostly going to be armor changes, and obviously the wings or backpacks changed, but all of that, and weapons is too. But anyway, let's just focus on this kit for this review, because here's what you wanted to see. So let's just take a look around the box first. Around the kit first. And yeah, it's a really nice RG. I gotta say, this was probably one of the simplest RGs that I've ever built. The body itself, the wings were slightly more complicated, but really not all that bad. The body itself was very simple. It was very quick to assemble the body of this RG. There's very little of inner frame for this. You know, most RGs have like the base inner frame, which is like the B runner, that inner frame, and then we have like other plastic inner frame parts that we're like connecting onto that. This one really doesn't have a lot of that. Most of this armor is just plugging directly onto the RG's, like the B runner frame, so that makes this build pretty quick. It's probably on par, similar to the Master Grade. Actually, the Master Grade probably has more stuff going on in the inner frame. Of course, it is larger. This mobile suit is slightly smaller. The Wing Gundam is going to be a little bit shorter. All of the Gundams in the Wing series are slightly shorter than average. I'll compare this to another kit for you guys here in a moment, so you can see that, just for comparison's sake. But otherwise, yeah, the kit, very easy to assemble. The nubs were really not that bad. The color separation is nice. Of course, the parts are nice. For the RG, like two-tone colors, it's really not too much. The most noticeable place would be on the legs, where you can have the two-tone white, but even there, it's barely noticeable. The two-tone blue, there's only like 3 darker blue parts, just the one in the chest, and the 2 circles around on the shoulders, so that's pretty much non-existent as well. It's very not noticeable. Everything looks really good. The details are all really nice. There aren't any areas where I think there was maybe like too much detail packed on. There's definitely a lot more surface detail on there than the Master Grade, which, you could give or take. I like the new details on the wings. This sort of like detail on the outside of there is really cool. On the kit itself, there's a lot of panel lines and stuff that I'm not particularly into. I like the look of the Master Grade a little bit more. Just a lot more of these like nice clean surfaces. This is a particular design that I personally don't really want like a ton of detail on it, like tons of panel lines and things like that. I just don't think it really fits the design, in my personal opinion. So this one, a little bit much for me in terms of some of those panel lines and things, but anyway, the kit is a really nice kit. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. If you remember, we had that big huge sticker sheet like most RGs. I only used a couple of them. I used one for the eyes, for the green cameras on the arms, and for the green camera there in the center of the chest. So you can see that. I think to cover this articulation, I want to take off the backpack first. So the articulation is going to be pretty much like any other RG. The head is going to be going up only about that far, really not that far at all, but down. It's going to have no problem there, getting really far angled down. The cockpit is going to open up. We just slide it forward, just like other versions. There is no pilot figure inside there, but it is cool. We can slide that out like that. The Gatling guns on the shoulders are going to just open up, not the sliding mechanism like on the MG, but those just open up like that. I think it's probably better. It's more simple. You don't have to worry about parts like sliding and scratching paint and things like that. Just opening that up, it's really easy. Will work really nicely. In the waist, we've got some bend to the side, about this much. Bend forward, not too much, because we start getting this blue chest piece hitting the red piece on the crotch. Bending back is going to go nice and far. There we get a bend in the lower part, and then a bend up inside here as well. So you get a nice far bend back, and then the head, like I said, doesn't go up that much, but because the waist bends back so much, you can get a pretty good angle looking up like that. So that's pretty nice. Here in the shoulders, These shoulder parts actually come out like that and then swing down. That's for like the transformation into bird mode, you having like the wings folded over. I don't really care for that, so I'm just going to leave them like this. These also don't move at all, like on the master grade, and I believe perfect grade as well. Those are movable, but on this, they're just fixed. I think they're just fixed like that. The arm is going to have just a rotation here at the top, double joint in the elbow to give you a bend that far. Like I said, I put that green sticker here. The wrist is just on ball joint, and the hands that I've got on here now are just the closed fists that come connected onto the RG frame. We do have a couple different more hand options. I'll show you those in a moment. The wrist, the waist armor is just, they're all individually posable, so you can move those up. We do have some detail underneath, not a whole lot, but there's some there. The side skirt armor is going to go up a little bit. The back skirts are going to work the same as the front skirts essentially, but not going to be able to move back as far. So that is that. The legs are going to rotate at the top and then double joint here in the knee, and we get the sliding armor in the thigh. The knee part, of course, comes off, and then we have a little bit of sliding armor here in the lower leg as well. When we bend the ankle down, this front part does slide down just a little bit. It's barely noticeable, but there you can see a little bit of movement there in that off-white part there. And then the ankle guard and ankles are going to move a little bit, but really not that much. Either that or mine are just kind of really stiff. So they're going to move a little bit to the side, but you're not going to be able to get a really super wide stance with this if you want to keep the feet flat. So that's too bad. This front ankle armor is just articulated up and down. The feet, we have 3 parts, the back part, middle part, and toe. The toe moves up, and then the whole thing moves all the way down that much. So pretty good, nice articulation there. The feet seem pretty large. I wonder if that's just because the backpack is so big, so in order to be able to make sure the kit can stand on its own, we have to have the feet a little bit larger. But yeah, and I've seen what people are talking about. I've heard people complain about the knees on this kit. You do, like when you're bending the knee back into place, you have to bend it in like a certain way that it like lines up so that when the leg is straight, it'll look the correct way. Again, see here, I'm not doing it. This part is bent too far back. All in all, I have to say the proportions for the kit do look pretty good. I think it looks a little bit better once you got it up on action base and you're able to extend those, just point those long feet down. It helps the legs look nice and long, I think. So we'll do that here in a minute. But before that, just want to talk about these wings as well. That guy's not going to stand up. So the back wings are pretty simple. They're going to move side to side and rotate and out like so. Now, unlike the perfect grade, these aren't spring loaded, so you just have to pull that out manually. So the wings are going to open up like that. I found that this whole mechanism here where the beam saber just kind of folds out like that, and then you can pull it out. I like this better on the master grade where this is kind of hidden. On this one, it seems like just kind of this whole part is kind of open like that, where in the master grade it's like enclosed. I kind of like that better because the beam saber looks like it's just kind of like chilling there, like it's not really supposed to be there. It looks kind of weird to me. And then for the front wings, of course, these are nicely articulated. They're going to move, rotate there, and there's some like ridges there to give this a little bit of a ratchet system kind of. And then they're going to rotate there as well. Rotate, and then at the top, they're going to move up and down, and then rotate there as well. So you should be able to get those just around in pretty much every way that you'd want. So you can move those around all over the place. And then the backpack does connect really nicely onto here. I actually had a hard time taking it off, so I have no fear about that just coming off on its own. The wings are going to open up like this, again similar to the master grade, but it works a little bit differently. This one's a little bit easier, I think, because the master grade, like the way that these are piled on top of each other, is a little bit tricky. These just go together nice and smoothly. These feathers are all connected on ball joints, and I was worried about just when you're putting these on, like getting them mixed up or making sure to put the right one in the correct position. And I noticed that I don't think you're going to be able to see it here. Yeah, but inside here, like on on the actual feather part where it connects in, there's a little marking. There's a square for the center one, an up arrow for the top one, and a down arrow for the bottom one. So they are actually marked with a little detail inside there. Very ingenious, I think, on Bandai's part. Really good, easy way to make sure you don't get those mixed up when you're connecting them onto the wings. So let's talk about the accessories. First thing is we have an action base connector, of course, so that'll just connect up under the waist. And we do have a small 1/144 scale Hiro Yui pilot figure. I've just gone ahead and dropped some panel line accent wash, accent color on there just so you guys can see some of the details of this, otherwise it would be too bright white. Anyway, there's that. Then for hand options, we have a few. We have 2 dedicated trigger fingers. These are going to be for holding the Buster rifles, so for left and right. We have 2 open hands. These are really quite nice, I think. Really nice looking open hands here for the left and the right. And then we have our RG hands, which for this kit probably are going to serve no purpose at all. You have your closed fists, your holding hands for the Buster rifles, and then these really nice open hands. So these you're probably not going to really use for anything, I would imagine, but you do have those. Then we have our 2 clear greenish, bluish, greenish beam saber effect parts here, and then our 2 Buster rifles. Now these are specific for the left and right side. They are different, just mirrored basically, because we have the parts here. Just to give you a little bit of a look around there, the handle does move up and down, so that when you're holding it, you can hold it with just one hand. When they're connected, this part is going to fold down like so on that side, so that you can connect them together, and they'll connect there in that center part. So you can see these tabs here on the back are also mirrored, so there's going to plug together there, and then plug together here at this part as well, all like that. There you go, and now they're connected together. And here's why you can fold in one handle, so that you can now hold this with one hand, because I think with 2 hands you wouldn't be able to get, the handles are too close to each other. I don't think you could get both hands, the fingers in there would be hitting each other. So you just have to hold it basically with one hand, and then just put the other hand just there so it looks like it's holding the handle basically. Again, similar to the Master Grade. That being said, I have not tried it yet, so maybe you are able to hold both handles at the same time. We'll find out here in just a moment. And just to give you guys a look at how this is going to compare standing side by side with the Master Grade, here it is. This is my Master Grade. Still a work in progress. Basically all the painting is done. I just need to finish putting on the decals on it so you guys can get a nice little first look here at how that's looking. I have it standing on a piece of tissue paper there because the bottoms of the feet are painted, and there's no top coat on there yet, so I don't want to scratch the paint on the bottom of the feet. So he's standing on that for the moment. But you can see here very clearly the color changes that I made for the kit, as the kit was molded in essentially pretty close to the same colors. The dark navy, and then just white, and then just a very plain red. You can see the red that I've used for mine is a little brighter. The blue is obviously much brighter, and the white is a little bit of a purple tint. Hopefully you guys are seeing that all right in there. But anyway, the point of this is just to compare these side by side. Quite a bit of difference there. But here you can really see that difference in the detail, where the Master Grade really doesn't have a whole lot of surface detail, and the RG has a lot, and I haven't even panel lined it at all. So if I panel lined the RG, it would be even more obvious. But yeah, personally I like the aesthetic of the Master Grade more. Kind of less is more going on there. It looks a little bit more elegant, I think. But anyway, that is the comparison between the two here. Now, over the past couple months, this is the third version of the Wing Zero Custom that I've reviewed. I reviewed the SDX Standard as well as the Master Grade. And now this one, I gotta say, this is the best looking kit just out of box. It shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise, as that's kind of one of the things of RG kits, is that they look pretty amazing just out of the box. Just really nice details and color separation, and then the stickers too, if you use those, are going to be really top notch. Obviously the SD Standard had a lot of stickers, and it's SD, that might not be for everyone. And then the Master Grade is a little bit dated, although it does have a very nice look, I do have to say. Once it's all painted, it's definitely a really nice looking kit. But the RG, of course, just out of box is going to look really fantastic here. Of course, like most RGs as well, it has very few seam lines for you to have to fix. Really, the only noticeable seam line that I can remember is just going to be the one here on the back wings. There's a big seam line going all the way down and under on those two big pieces on the back wings, and that's pretty much going to be it. Pretty much every other seam line is a panel line, so they don't really have to worry too much about that. The seam lines that were quite a little, not so difficult, but a little bit more tricky on the master grade are now gone. Those would be like the difficult seam lines on the shoulders, as well as on the head. And yeah, so you don't have to worry about those with this kit, which is nice. So it is in a much smaller scale, a lot more finer little pieces, which might not be for everyone. So you just kind of have to think about, you know, which one works better for what you particularly want out of it. One thing that I did forget to mention, which is very important if you wanted to do this pose, having the legs sort of almost crossed, it doesn't quite do it, this is about as close as you can get, but the important thing is that the action base connector can also connect onto the backpack, so if you don't want to have that connected up between the legs, you can connect that onto the backpack. It really works quite nicely for certain poses like this, and if you have an action base which can go that tall, I think an action base 2, which would be for 1/144 scale kits, would have to go like to its highest setting to be able to get it high enough to keep this up there. If you wanted to have it like at any height, if you wanted to have it like just barely off the ground, it'll be fine. But having a taller base like this, an action base 1, or like what I'm using here, this Kotobukiya base, will work nicely to keep it up nice and high, and then connect it under the backpack like that. Works really well. The other thing that I forgot to mention is that for the eyes and the cameras in the arms, those are clear parts. Of course, it has a clear parts for the eyes, and then here in the arms, clear parts there as well. I just cover them up with the stickers just for the sake of this review. But of course, you can paint with some clear paint on those clear parts, or you know, whatever you want to do for those as well. And so, once again, like the master grade, pulling off this very iconic pose, for some reason I just had a lot of trouble doing it. It could very well be that I'm doing something wrong. I'm trying to look in the manual and not really getting too much success at trying to get this posed the correct way. I did test it out that you can't hold both the handles at the same time, so you do have to have one handle folded up and the other, so that means that this hand is just kind of faking it, just kind of off to the side, but the wrist, on the other hand, it doesn't really have enough clearance to bend it back as far as it needs to be to hold the rifle straight out. So you kind of need to be holding it by both hands in order to have it be straight. You can pull the shoulder joints out as far as possible to get the the arms out in front as far as possible, but then it kind of looks goofy, then it's coming out at the shoulders too much. So I don't know, maybe I'm just doing something wrong, but personally I don't really think it pulls off this particular pose all that well, and really neither did the master grade without doing some modifications to the handles as well. So I don't really want to end this review on this pose that I'm not really too happy about, because I think the articulation of this kit is really nice, and it's a shame not to show it off in a better way just for the sake of doing some pose just because it's iconic. So now this I think is a little bit better pose to end on, or at least I like this pose more. So yeah, overall really nice kit. Definitely a lot of pros and cons, mostly pros over the master grade, to be honest. Of course the master grade is a little bit older, as I've said, so I hate to like basically spend a lot of this review comparing this to the master grade, but I feel that's a pretty fair comparison. If you want like a really nice version of the Wing Zero custom with like a full inner frame and all that, basically your choices are the real grade or the master grade, unless you want to consider the perfect grade as well. But like most perfect grades, that's pretty much a brick, so you're not really going to be able to do a whole lot with that. So yeah, really nice kit here. Very few seam lines to have to take care of. Really nice color separation, part separation there. A lot of really nice details there to work with. A lot of really cool possibilities for painting this kit, as we've seen in the year that it's been out. We've seen plenty of really nice builds of this kit, so surely no doubt about that. The one thing that in terms of just the articulation and the engineering of this kit, the one part that I've really had the most trouble with is the mechanical arms connecting the front wings. The last part there, like the last part before the arm connects to the wing, I feel is not really right. They're really nicely articulated, really super solid. I have like no doubt about that those are ever going to like sag or anything. They're really strong, but the shape of that last part is a little bit too long and straight, and it's the way that just connects just straight into that wing. It makes it a little bit hard to have the wings sort of like just like straight like out kind of. I don't really know quite how to describe it, but that is pretty much the only part where I feel the articulation of this kit is a little bit limited, sadly. So otherwise everything else is going to work really cool. Cool that you can open the cockpit as well. It's a really simple thing there, but it's cool. I think in terms of like opening cockpits, the Wing Zeros is one of my favorites. Just the way the front part just kind of slides out like that, it looks really cool. So overall, very cool kit. It sadly doesn't hold the rifles all that well if you want to do the sort of last shot pose there with it holding them with both hands. Not going to do that really the best, but you can just hold the Buster rifles, put them together and just hold them in one hand like this, and it looks really cool. So thank you guys for watching this review. As always, if you want to ask any questions or leave any comments, of course, leave those down below. I love hearing from you guys, so leave those there. We'll be taking a look at the new RG Wing Gundam EW very soon, so look forward to that. If you guys have any like particular questions or comments about that kit, leave those down below, and I'll be sure to address that when I review that kit coming up very shortly. So thanks guys, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.